Good evening, everybody. Welcome back as ever to Building Blocks, where we program Minecraft mods live on camera, and frequently things go quite incredibly awry. Tonight, I don't have dreadfully much to show you on the basis of everything I've been working on for like the past week has been very like back-endy, so it doesn't necessarily have a very visual thing to show off, especially since we don't actually have like any changelings currently. That said, we are sort of working on what could be described as the changeling tonight. Is that a tiny fox friend? Yes, this is Rose. Rose, the tiny friend fox. Formerly my my emotional support. Yep, formerly like the little like pocket friend that I would take out and about when I went on trips and grocery runs and whatnot. But Rose is a very nervous sort and has been swiftly retired from such service. So Cranston, who we saw in the most recent Christmas present like bonanza, is now taking up that particular role. But yes, tonight we are working on one of the Archfey one of the intended Archfey mobs. The Archfey are creatures that are extremely powerful, genuinely not people you want to take on in a fight, but they can be bargained and reasoned with. And in the case of the one that we're working on tonight, they're also a patron, which means that if you happen to be playing as a warlock instead of various oddities, you can go to them and get some, like, big boons. The downside being that when you complete that particular pact with that particular patron, you unleash the changeling rifts. So, yeah, that happens. And currently, I don't have a great deal on them. Next week, we'll be going in a bit more detail to try and nail down exactly the properties of Archfey and whatnot. But for right now, all we have is the fact that there is an entity that we are referring to as Patron Witch, and they can do stuff, and that's about it. They don't currently have a model. That's the thing that we're working on tonight. Hey, Firefly, thank you very much. 6 months. Wow, time flies. So let me just boot up real quick, and while that's booting up, I can show you all of the assembled reference artwork that I have, gotten for this particular character. If you didn't know, this particular character is based on The Witch in the Woods, which is from a Minecraft series of mine of some degree of renown. So, yeah. So, here we have a piece by Padfootlet, who's also one of my patrons, as it happens. I'm a warlock of many patrons, it would seem. And yeah, this is the witch in their well. As they originally appeared, they were a creature coming out of the well. The well in this kind of case of various oddities is sort of symbolized by the clearing in the deep, dark forest of the Feywild, which also similarly serves as their prison, because this particular patron has been sealed away, and with good reason. Then we have the original Minecraft skin, not including the, like, rosy red shoes, which we might keep in. I'm not sure. I don't know necessarily if this particular character will retain the ruby red shoes of the original witch, but they will almost certainly be keeping, like, the witch hat. And then this is a piece from Ninja, who has done quite a bit of artwork and fan art and such for my stuff, and is always excels with the inhuman aspects. So I really like this vision, this sort of inhuman kind of grin, and I really want to keep that in. The obvious way to do that inside of like a Minecraft skin is to just have this like white block and then just make it wider than the actual face, but that's not actually terribly interesting to see. So I think what we'll actually be doing is we'll be taking the regular head, splitting it at about the top of the lip here, and then just like having it split and then maybe split more, just occasionally. So like, usually they'll just like flap, 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 but occasionally they'll just go like flap, like Predator style. Then we have a few different pieces by Boa Illustration. I especially like this one. I love the little markings and such on the gloves and on the sides here. This is really nice detail. This is by Boa Illustration, or Blythe Bee, as you will occasionally see them. Here is the next few pieces I have unsourced, but they're available. You can find them quite happily by typing Archfey into Google Images. So, yeah. Hearing that without visuals, basically, Dusty, they're gonna have at least a 2-point jaw that can hinge left and right, should they wish, just to give that nice little unsettling feel to them. Then we got another piece of Archfey. It's just looking ethereal, regal, like bright, like bleached white, like bone. That's pretty nice. That like black eyes. I love the contrast of the eyes. One trait I would like to put into this particular character is just that maybe it's a problem. Maybe it's a property of all Archfey. We don't know yet. This is the first one we're looking at. But the end portal texture is animated and it's three-dimensional essentially. And I would love to have like two pixel eyes that do that. I would love it to seem like their eyes are actually like dense, like limitless kind of voids. Then we got another piece from Kaiba's art here, because I loved I love the outfits. There's a lot of different takes on how the witch's outfit looked like, and I love the way that this one looks like. Honestly, I could sew it. So this one looks really nice. I like it. And another piece of Kaiba's art looking significantly more disheveled, sort of giving this impression that maybe they've been locked away for a very prolonged period of time. They're not quite at full strength, and maybe that's why they start making a pacts with warlocks that cross their path and such. And then there's this, because it was really cute and I found it anyways. Like, this is just really cute. I'm aware, Marsh, but this is not endorsement. I'm just like checking art here for inspiration. Yeah, this is just cute and fluffy, and I kind of want to code in a giant fox pillow, because if you can, why would you not? I guess. But okay, so let's drop into our test world and have a look at what we have. So, like, at this exact moment, which is to say, not dreadfully much, but we just need to drop our witch in and see that they exist, and then there's not some kind of major problem with them. I get it, Marsh. Which so looks like they have floating a bit with blood. Oh yeah, that particular image I believe came out around about the same time as the Return series did, and it is all of the lines that show up in the Return, barring I think Sister lying, but yeah, you can see Timothy just behind there as well. You guys can't see this at all because I'm not looking at my thing. There we go. So yeah, there's Timothy just hiding around there, and they've got all the other lines except for Sister lying. It's really nice. Hey, this is my floors? I can't remember exactly. So we just have to wait for Minecraft to unheck itself. Which is partially because I took out the hive blocks related to mold procedurals. Now that we have the interior and the procedural both working on rooms, and both able to therefore use hive creep. But it's fairly straightforward with that. We just have rooms inside of procedural like rifts. Just generate a basic structure, layer it with hive creep, and then just have it not care about adding new hive creep that's outside those rooms anyways. Okay. So here's my player sensors looking significantly more spiffy and colorful. I didn't quite achieve that in the way I preferred to have it be achieved, but reminds me of the tiny witch sleeping on a Totoro that Per asked me to draw once, or was it Snorlax? It was either Snorlax or Totoro, both of which are fairly like valid things to like compare me with. I kind of want to make these look a bit more like Nitor, but for right now, not terrible, not terrible. Anyways, tunes a day, and let's see if we have a witch. Yep, there we are, patron witch. Wait, do I have... Oh no, just whale. I was like, that seems odd. Let's dunk them in here. Might as well. Okay, so this is what our witch currently looks like, because they don't have a texture, and they don't have, like, an actual proper model. It is just... It's just a player model, actually. It's pretty much just 100% a player. So we just need to make sure that that's a little better, and let me just check to see... Oh good, there is a range limit on that. So if they accidentally step on that, I will not be teleported over here. Okay. So, first thing we're going to do is make them look like the witch in the woods from the series. We're gonna give them the player texture. And that's not dreadfully difficult. We just create ourselves a texture file, shove it in there, and tell it to like, take that one. That's fairly easy. We can almost, in fact, do that just live without even closing it or changing anything out here. Provided that I have the actual texture file, which I believe I do have, actually. I think that's inside of the lexica. Where are you? Which? There you are. Yaha! That's the one I'm wanting. So we take that, and we save it, and then we should be able to actually just dunk that directly into our system, and then just say, hey, this is what Patron Witch looks like. And meanwhile, in regards to the 1.14 update, we are still working on that quite heavily. There. Okay, all good. But it requires taking a lot of the strangeness that we've had to do to accomplish a lot of things inside of various oddities and ensure that it is in line with how the same strangeness might be done in 1.14, and that's a bit of a leap in a lot of cases. Tail? Fluffy tail? I mean, there's... having them turn into a fox on occasion would be nice, or some kind of twisted vision of a fox. Like, what's the fox breed that's like on stilts? I can't remember. Hey, Dark Blue, how you doing? Okay, if we F3 and T right now, then we should see this actually swap out for Witch. Et voila. Straightforward and simple. But, more than a little too simple. Also, it's making Vex noises right now, which seems fairly appropriate under the circumstances. Main fox? Maybe, mayhaps. But okay, so we want to make this a bit more complicated. Now, there is a version of the witch used inside of filming The Return, which has like the floofy sleeves and like I think an actual like tail at the back, like ponytail at the back, that kind of thing. They looked a bit more like built out as opposed to just being like matte skins like this. Do I have the code for... I have the code for the haunting. That might be sufficient, because that should use the same stuff. And then last I checked, haunting was coded in 1.12, so it should also be fine-ish. So there is Model Witch. And we can open that, have a look at it. And it's just like the wings, which we probably don't need for this exact model, as well as the like sleeves, and the sleeves are the main thing that we're after here. So with that, we can just add that in real quick, and it'll be tacked onto this particular model, and then we'll have our nice floofy kind of like sleeves. I again didn't switch out of game view, so you could actually see what I'm looking at here. So yeah, here is code directly from the haunting, the custom mod that was specifically made to film the haunting, to make sure that everything looks like good. One of your favorite witch things you saw once, if it was in fic or art, it was a witch with skin like cracked porcelain. That's not a dreadfully uncommon thing. So yeah, it could be either, honestly. Extends from I'm trying to remember if there was. I don't think in this version at the very least we had like actual just like straight up here as a ponytail tied to the back of the head. That is a thing that we can add, which might be interesting to see, but for right now. Could we occasionally make witch hum the start of Come Little Children? As just like an idle sound? Easy. It's just... Now I do notice that there are 2 components to the head here. But I don't see anything happening to the head from there. Now that could mean that this refers to the that this refers to the ears, because they're using the same exact textures. Let's have a look at you. What could be 1 block tall? The only thing that comes to mind is the ears. 1 by 1 by 1, 1 by 3 by 1, 1 by 3 by 2. Yeah, it could just be the ears, I think. I think that's just ears. I'm not 100% certain. But we can check it out on the texture easily. But okay. So what we want to do is take our arms, grab them, go into Model Patron Witch, actually create a constructor because we haven't yet. And add ourselves a couple of model renders. Okay, so that will just create them. It won't actually like animate them in any fashion, so that's the next thing we need to add. So here we have a whole ton of animation happening. So we've got render wings, rotate wings, render right, left arm. Where is the right thing? There you are. Is it? Is that the right thing? Or is that just... Did I not animate the arms? I could have sworn I had. Apparently not. Interesting. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Do we parent... Yes, we do. Okay, good. So, we need to go into our texture now and make sure that it contains all the details that we need for our texture with the sleeves, because otherwise they'll just be completely transparent. Get rid of you. No, there. Textures, entity, nope. Ponytails. Right, I did have a ponytail thing, because there's the witch's ponytail right there. Oh, okay. Well, sure, yeah, we're gonna add the ponytail in there easily. Let's see, there's witch, but I think that might just be the regular witch's texture, rather than the accessories. Yeah, because there's the witch and there's the witch's eyes, because the witch's eyes glow in the dark. Just added via a glow layer. So yeah, there's the actual texture that was used for the witch, and over here we actually have the texture. Would it be a foxtail? I mean, you're not wrong. So there's the texture for the wings, and yeah, that must have been the ears. Okay, and there's the sleeves right there that we need. Right. So we just need to take that and add it all together into one texture that we can then just like actually use. Now, this doesn't have to be 100% accurate to how the Witch in the Woods looked, but we're going to be taking enough details of it that it's familiar to people, that those that get it, and sufficiently intelligible for those that don't necessarily get the reference. So, yeah. Excuse me while I completely fail to sit correctly on a chair. So, we need to check here, make sure we know where everything is, and we are probably going to have to reinstantiate it anyways on the sheer basis of we're going to be changing up what our like texture size and such is. Not dreadfully difficult, it'll just rescale everything if we're wrong. Because we can see that, for instance, sitting correctly is a scam. Yeah, as I say, we can do ponytail and foxtail. It's just I don't see necessarily a relevance in doing both. But having them turn into some form of fox would be really nice. Like they're trapped in a forest, but they turn into an Arctic wolf, an Arctic fox, for instance. Like there's possibilities with that. Okay, so there's our left arm code. Which we mostly want to keep the code in. Because, bear in mind, the accessories section that adds the sleeves and the wings and whatnot was added on as a layer on top of the existing thing. So it ended up being two separate models, but with pieces that overlapped. And that means that some of these things don't necessarily work entirely well together. Off the bat, anyways. Okay. Now, the advantage here is this does give us all the different pieces that we can just separate and identify, so we can then start adding interesting little quirks and such to them quite heavily. Okay. Catgirl Witch. I want to say somebody has drawn the witch in a maid outfit. Possibly George at some point. Like, I swear that's happened. Just gonna get rid of these because we're not gonna be actually using this variable. So it's just a little bit more visual noise for us to be annoyed with. Okay, so 64, 32. Okay. Right. So with that, we just need to modify the texture. And this was based on just on model biped, not model player, so consequently there is no armor layers to worry about. So we pretty much just need to wonder. The legs and the arms are identical. We're not currently planning on them being distinct, so we don't necessarily need to worry about that. But we'll nonetheless swap it over to this so that we can just get everything in one place, as it were. And this is a 64 by a 64, so we want to change our value up here for the height. Okay. And let's grab the witch texture from skins. And drop that back into our textures. As patron witch. Okay. Reboot that, and now nothing should have changed. It is a key point, in fact, that nothing should have changed. Hey, 88. How you doing? Why do I get the distinct impression that Witch would slaughter me for even thinking about Magical Girl Witch? Again, I'm certain somebody's already done it. Like, I would be heavily surprised, even at my level of bad memory, if somebody hadn't done it. Okay, good starts. Nothing has changed. Again, we were looking for that. So, we want to add the sleeves, because they don't currently have a texture, which is why they're currently invisible. And we want to add the ponytail, and ideally we'll add the ears as well. So the same thing about Shisai and the onesie, but you look everywhere, cannot find it. But I'm definitely certain the onesie's been done. I'm fairly certain I saw the onesie whilst looking at reference images, in fact. So, okay, here's all of the textures relating to the accessories for the witch. So we just take these, transplant them over to here, and then tell the model exactly where these are. So that is 0 and 32 for the sleeves. And while we're at it, we'll also tell it where the second leg is, just in case people want to retexture the witch and have them be, like, asymmetric. Now, I just need to quickly check the Minecraft wiki, because I cannot, for the life of me, remember which part is where. Like, I can't remember which one's the left and the right. Left leg, left arm is on the bottom. Okay. So left leg is from about here, so that is 1648. And left arm is from 3248. Now, presuming, again, that we haven't just caused a massive problem, nothing should have changed. You'd be surprised how many checks there are to see that to make sure you've changed nothing in programming. So that's how textures work? Yeah, it is literally right here. That is it. Just search skins on the wiki. But I'm old school, so I remember when they were like 1 item tall, more or less. I remember when they were 32 tall, now they're 64. Okay, has anything gone wrong? Here's the question. There's also a bunch of like block state and texture errors down here, but don't worry about those. Those are completely unrelated. Yep, there's a problem. Oh. Right, I just did the wrong thing. That's why. I didn't actually save this over there. Okay, right. That's fine, because we can just clone this over. I guess it wants to be source. Just need to make sure. So yeah, it's still using a 64 by 32 skin there. Export. Replace. Yes, export. Thank you. Okay, reflex. And where are you? There you are. Okay. This is the wrong kind of monstrosity. Hey Amy, how you doing? Yep, there's still a problem. And I wonder where it starts. That is the question here. So up here, we've still got all of these different references, and that's all fine. But I wonder if it's just that we're already declaring things. Texture height, texture width, that might be the problem. Well, let's conform this more to my standards of model making than Mojang's. Because Lord knows Mojang ain't that great. I mean, just look at the horse model. Okay, that's not being entirely fair. The horse model wasn't actually done by them. Which just looking annoyed as someone tries to put them back together but keeps getting the body pieces in the wrong order. Oh. Parrot, didn't you mention there was a headcanon that Witch created Smithy? Like, created the slime creature Smithy? I vaguely recall you mentioning that. Or somebody mentioned that, at the very least. So the Witch will be an NPC. The Witch will be an Archfey. And you can go to them and start the Witch Patron Pact as a Warlock. As will other creatures and characters. But the ideal, of course, is that if you get the reference, then you can enjoy it as a reference. But otherwise, you can just enjoy it as this is creepy as hell. And also super unique. No other mod has ever been this creative and created such an interesting new character since 2012. But still, mentioned there was a headcanon for a short while with the well-chosen. Oh, I see. Okay. Right. Let's replace that with model utils.fresh renderer. This. Across the board. There we go. All good. That is the value I'm looking for, right? Isn't it? Yes, good. Okay. So if we get rid of that, most of it should be perfectly fine to begin with. As near as I can tell, that should all be good. So let's see if it isn't. But yeah, you will, if one of the new dimensions that's getting added as part of various oddities is called the Feywild, which is the land of the Fey. If you go there, it is a highly exaggerated version of the overworld to a fair extent. It's not like huge, not like amplified terrain, but more like just exaggerated. And one of those places that you can find in there is a biome called the Deep Dark Woods. And if you go into the Deep Dark Woods, deep enough into the dark and whatnot, you'll find a clearing that's bright and sunny at all hours of the day for some reason. And inside of that, you'll find the witch, just sort of having tea. And if you chat with them for a bit, they will offer you a deviled egg. And if you eat the deviled egg, you will start the witch pact as a warlock. You can only have one pact at a time. So if you have an existing one, it'll be ended by that. But you start that pact at level 1, and as you progress it, you get more and more boons and whatnots, and eventually, if you hit the top tier of that, you tear open rifts to the Feywild and the Overworld, and changelings come through. But if you don't like eggs, well then you don't eat the deviled egg. Okay, what is going on here? Why are you still hecked up? Did I get like the... Did I get the size wrong? Is that what's going on here? No, it is 64 by 64. Okay. So why are you still... Why are you still? Why are you still, like... It's very clear they're squished. Because that's a lot more pixels in, like, the head, for instance, than should be there. There's gonna be some really incredibly, like, stupidly obvious reason for this that I am completely blazing over. Texture height and texture width so you can do the right things. No. So what's going wrong? It looks like the height isn't getting through for some reason. Are there gonna be other characters we can make packs with then? Yes, there's gonna be Kirin Dave. Kirin Dave and, well, the Kirin and the Witch are the two that come out of the Feywild. I would like to have two per dimension, or at least two per dimension in which there are patrons, so you can sort of just go through and pick a side, as it were. But currently, the primary ones that are on the list are the Witch and the Kirin from the Feywild. There might be ones you can find in the Overworld. I haven't yet decided if there should be sufficiently powerful eldritch beings in the Overworld. Will the Nyan be a patron? If so, Fuzz will probably be one of the Overworld ones. Because I can't really think of it. But like, I can't add a dimension of cats. So we are setting it. Like, that's clearly happening here. But for whatever reason, we're just not seeing it. Why aren't we? That is the question. We did that. Will it mind if we do that? because that should send the model size through. Well, send the texture through. Like, that might just be the problem. You just came into Cat Dimension and you're interested? Cat Dimension would either be hell or heaven. But yeah, not adding a Cat Dimension. I have no reason, no earthly reason at the very least to add a Cat Dimension. But, if there was a Cat Dimension, Fuzz would definitely be a patron from there. The patrons, I think, by general standard, should be like extra-dimensional creatures of significant power. Why? I guess your texture just not, like, been refreshed or something? Is that it? How very odd. So there's that, yeah, that's the one we're looking for. What does that look like right now? Hey, Firefly. What do Witchlang and Kirin be gods of? I mean, they're not necessarily gods. But they're extremely powerful, extra-dimensional beings. Like that? Is it not 32 tall? Is that my problem? No, it's 64 by 64. So why is it not doing that? Oh, this is irritating. Yeah, like, gods are a very distinct, different thing to Archfey. Archfey are technically mortal, whereas gods are, you can't kill a god. Under most circumstances, only gods can kill gods. Like, Archfey, you theoretically could kill. Just wouldn't try it. Don't pick that fight. Like, Archfey are operating by fundamentally very different physical rules. Whereas gods are gods. And in Dungeons and Dragons, at the very least, the two are very distinct camps. So you've got the gods, which are the things that clerics pray to and get their spells directly from through divine energies, and they don't usually ask for anything in return, other than to uphold certain moral standards and whatnot. And then you have Archfey, who warlocks can make pacts with, and they're bargainers and dealers and usually cheaters. They're generally very tricky kind of people that you don't really want to get involved with, because they will find the slightest bit of implication or wording in legalese and whatnot that will probably screw you over massively. But yeah, why? There's gotta be something very funky going on here that I am having trouble identifying. That's probably it. I'm an idiot. Okay. There. I was right. It was something silly. And ridiculously simple. But yeah, let me see. The witch in Various Oddities canon, at least, is essentially the patron deity of the changelings. The changelings are xenomorph-inspired shapeshifters, and they you'll only ever find them in small amounts inside of the Deep Dark Woods. But if you complete the pact, then they start spawning in the overworld and building hives. Whereas the Kirin is essentially Smokey the Bear, but gone ham. To the point that if you max out the Kirin's pact, you'll probably not be able to go in the woods ever again. Okay, those sleeves look a bit low to me. Very, very long sleeves there. But hey, we're getting there. We're getting there. Obviously, we need to add the ponytail back. Like, do you even have? Yeah, you're just buried. You're in like winter mode here. You've just buried your You've just buried your hands in your sleeves. Gone unicorn. Okay, so for that we need to change the rotation point. I think we actually can just get rid of that line. I think. Because I think that's more or less just down. Just reduce that to 8, maybe. That should about do it. Let's see what that does. Which with the sweater paws, yeah. Maybe their hands are cold? I mean, maybe, but I think technically speaking that testing world is a desert. I think that's what its biome is. Yeah, I'm probably going to be retexturing a large portion of this skin. Fairly decent portions of it are going to stay the same, but we're going to be taking elements from our inspiration set there. There are cold deserts, especially at night, yeah. Antarctica is a desert. Believe me, I know. It is an Arctic desert. There we go, that's better. So now they've got that little like thump out there. That's their big baggy sleeves. But they've also still got their actual hands, so that's good. But okay, so let's add in the ears, which we don't see here, and let's add in the ponytail, because the ponytail is important, everybody. Gotta have the ponytail. Now, the Gobi Desert is a prime example of Gobi Desert? I did not know. I thought the Gobi Desert was warmer. Let's... Haunting, I need a haunting open. So glad I keep these things on my desktop, just in case I need them. So, models, costume, well, which? So there's the earpieces. And we now then need to add those pieces from here into our main here. Can those fit just there? No, they can't. Okay, they gotta go down here. Or actually we can just plonk them there. Why not? Okay. So, wherever it says 0, we need to change that to 24. We need to increase that first value here by 24. And that should put them back on track for where they should be. Once we actually then overwrite this. Export to Patron Witch, good. Refresh, and that should get us the ears. Witch on a winter night just curled in a blanket sipping tea or cocoa in front of a fire. Metro Fox, nothing like... Okay then. Well, thanks for the bits anyways. Glad that one wasn't big enough to be read out by the narrator. Regardless how much a stern look can discourage someone. Oh yeah. If there's one piece of like human body language that I can understand, it is absolutely the stern stare, because I got it a lot. There we go. Ears. Nicely detailed little ears. Hooray! Yaha. I may have to disable the alerts for a bit here. But okay, ponytail. Needs the ponytail. Okay. The ponytail in Haunting was made, I believe, with an actual layer. Yeah, layered ponytail. And that requires adding a layer, which might be a pain in the neck. Let me see. How do I want to do this then, if I've got that? Because the reason I don't want to try and add extra layers here to the renderer is if we use different models, then we don't necessarily have it rendering the right thing for there to be a ponytail. So for instance, if we had one that just looks like a xenomorph, the xenomorph would also have the ponytail. And that would be a little odd. Just a little odd. And I could get into a nested renderer, but that would be, oh boy, quite the mess. But anyways, like, there's all of the complex stuff. This is actually this is the code specifically used for rendering how your cape in Minecraft works, if you are so fortunate as to have a cape. I certainly don't, because heck if I've ever been able to actually afford to go to Minecon or something. But yeah, sure. Well, for right now, at the very least, it's probably fine if we just add it as its own layer. I'm trying to think, where did I put layer renderers? Right there, under layer. That's convenient. My sticks? Oh yes, my sticks. Why, thank you. I shall be back momentarily. In about 10 minutes. And welcome back, everybody. I'm currently just trying to port a few values over from players to the witch so that now they can actually have a ponytail moving around, but for right now I think it'll just be mostly stationary. But I managed to get the ponytail code in and tweaked, and it should hopefully mostly work right about now. What did you come back to? We are currently adding a ponytail to the witch, because it's not quite a witch without a ponytail, is it? Oh, I should not do that. My hair stinks tremendously of hair dye right now. Oh, the things I suffer. Humans have too many limbs. Not all humans. Some humans have even more. Now, this should just be a missing texture at the back of their head, but we'll see. Because I haven't ported that texture into it just yet. Yep, that's a start, all right. That's a start. Ah, yeah, that's definitely a start. Okay then. Good. We have something that resembles a really weird cape. So, those are the values I need to update, and that's part of update cape, which is run inside of an update. But in our case, that's update ponytail, or update hair, I guess we'd call it. Which looks distinctly annoyed. Yeah, you can't really, like, you wouldn't think you could feel it through the, like, through a screen like that, but yeah, they totally do. Okay. Let's see what that does for us. I feel like it's very much possible that they are always annoyed. Oh no, have you met the witch? The witch is very rarely annoyed, actually. Sir Lying Harrister, on the other hand, he's constantly annoyed. Just constantly. Like, you know, he's constantly furious. Bloodlying is constantly annoyed. But the witch is just constantly, like, messing with people, and they love it. Every second of it. Okay, let's see what that did for our ponytail woes here. Okay, that's good. Ah, perfect. Yeah, gently wafting behind them. That's exactly what we want to see. Have they ever met anyone who just messed with them back? No, because generally speaking, like, generally speaking, there's a reason you don't send the Joker to fight the Joker, you send Batman to fight the Joker. But okay, now now we just need the texture. And also I need to make an actual folder in here for these files, but right now we don't have that. Hey, thank you very much.
Just because.
Thank you for that. And oh hey, 10 people get some rewards from that, nice. Okay, so let's just copy that over into here, where we shall then proceed to rename it to Patron Witch Ponytail. Okay, it's showing up, and if we hit F3 and D, we should see the ponytail back. Hey, there we are. One ponytail. Could make it blockier. It's not necessarily that it be blocky, but yay. So, that is the basis of our witch. Now, that is not remotely all that we're going to be having. I did not go and assemble like a dozen different reference images just to re-implement what I have already done in the past. Like, we need to really get this individual's character across in a variety of malevolent ways. And I feel like that should be rotating according to their head rather than their body, but yeah, we can figure that out. So let's see, firstly, if I can just get the ponytail attached to the right piece, because right now it appears to be attached just to the body, and that's not perfect here. We want that to actually be rotated according to the head. And the ponytail is actually part of the main witch model now, so yay, it's just rendered separately, which is how we can do some fun stuff. Okay, so if we, let's see, check our model here, it comes from Model by Pet Mast. We seem to have a fair bit of activity tonight. I wonder what's going on. So there's the ponytail right there. And is there anything in here relating to it? Yes, set rotation angles. Bingo. Okay. So when we call that, we need to rotate our ponytail piece. So that should just make sure we get all of that through. Is it still entity, or is it something else these days? Yeah, it's just entity. The reason you were saying down in game for a majority of the New Helena Gardening event was you having nasty tasty spell. Oh dear. Feel bad now? I mean, New Helena was a while ago, Firefly. That was like months? Years, maybe? Oh dear, yeah. Okay, that should get the ponytail correctly rotated. Now, is there... There's code in each individual costume relating to special rendering. Let's see if there was anything in there for the witch. Let's see... Key Z, key X, key C, key V, special abilities. In short, can fly. World render, server events. Clients, they got special particles. Nothing relating to special magical, like, client rendering, so from that, that's good. Okay. So, let's start with the first piece, which is, we're gonna shrink the head, we're gonna add some pieces back to it, and then we're going to make them look horrifying. Just gonna get things very entertaining, I'm sure. And we no longer have need of this, so we can just close this out. We just need this file here, which should be all the elements that we need for at least this one model. Now, being the patron deity, essentially, of changelings, it is obvious that the witch should have more than one, like, visual when you're looking at them. I don't think we need to go as far as, say, morph mod and have them, like, transfigure, like, crickling and crackling into from one thing into another thing. I almost as many viewers as the official Minecraft Twitch channel. Oh, something is dearly wrong. Either for the official Minecraft Twitch channel or me. Who knows? Anyways, yeah, the patron deity of changelings and therefore shapeshifters should absolutely be able to be in more than one kind of view than as necessary. Now, there are two ways that I can do this, and I like the second one more. The first is that I determine what they should be appearing as server side, and then synchronize that with all of the different players that are currently looking at it, in which case everyone will see the exact same version of the witch. But the second version is, I don't do that, I just describe it client-side, and everybody gets to see a different version simultaneously, which will give a nice little sort of, like, slight paranoia element to things. It's like, well, they look like a perfectly normal human being to me, mind the ears, you know, and then the other person will be like, dude, they're literally a giant spider, or something to that effect. So we can just have like a selection of different models and textures and such, harking back to the wide variety of all of our like resource material here, and you'll just like randomly pick between one of them. Now, to make sure that it's not just randomly flickering between them all, we need to know whether or not like they have been recently rendered. So whenever they're being rendered, we need to be updating a value inside of the client-side renderer. When that value stops because they're no longer being rendered, then that value doesn't change. That's now a marker of the last time they were rendered. If that value, when it starts to come to being next rendered, is sufficiently far away from the preceding value, randomize, select a new model. So, as long as you're looking at them, they're in the same position, and if you look away for a short period and look back, they'll still be looking like in the same model. But if you look away for long enough, such that they stop being rendered on your screen and turn back, then you'll see something else. That's the plan, anyways. So, that's relatively like neither here nor there because we still only currently have the one model, but later on, that's going to be really neat. The Kirin, I don't think will have that effect. The Kirin isn't like a shapeshifter of any kind. They're just sort of a centaur creature. But the Witch definitely needs to have that feature. And I like that sort of like look away, look back. They're something else. The Kobold Oracle in the Order of the Stick comes to mind. Everyone saw someone different, but all agreed it was an Oracle. I think I remember that character, yes. And it was in like this big mist of memory weirdness. Anyways, so we've got the ponytail done, and now we've got our main model here with the texture going nicely. Yay. Let's create a folder in here just so that I know where everything goes. Just so we're not always staring down here. That's because this is... down here is just for like incidental one texture things like Marimos. Which I know is a statement that will annoy Fuzz, because Fuzz hates it when I say Marimo instead of Marimo. There. And now we also don't have to put Patron Witch at the start of everything. So, okay, our first little thing that we're going to try and do is the splitting jaw. And ideally we want to tie that to sound, and it's just like every once in a while it just like splits open. But most of the time it's just like, bleh. Oh, Purr, that was not like, and that wasn't intentional, or to annoy Fuzz. I just like sucked at pronouncing it. That was my fault. So, okay. Let's not animate, let's not tie it to sound just yet, but we will have to do that later on. So still funny? Fair. Fair. Okay. So jaw base here will allow us to control both the control the pitch essentially of both the left and the right halves of our jaw here, and then we'll be able to manipulate the left and the right, the yaw of each one individually, but they'll share the same pitch. That's why we have 3 values here for 2 pieces of jaw. Dusty, I don't think I necessarily need the play-by-play, but boy is it bewildering to hear. Like, is there anything actually even on that channel right now? I guess that's the greater question. Do I in fact have more viewers than a channel that's currently offline? Like, that would make a lot of sense. Okay, so this dot jaw base equals... Grab ourselves a fresh renderer. Jaw base itself will have nothing. Mostly. I mean, it might have the back of the head, depending on how we want to do this. Like, is it like sock puppets? Is it strong bad? What am I thinking of? That's just like the entire like jaw goes across the whole bottom like part of the head, and it's just like meh, meh. Dusty just pulling a Nick today, a little bit. Okay, so biped heads, add child, jaw base. So now the jaw base is connected to the head, ergo we don't have to synchronize its positioning at all. We do want to keep doing that in the rotations with the ponytail, because the ponytail has to deal with a bunch of other stuff. And then jaw left needs to equal a fresh renderer as well. Jaw left dot add box, and we want this to be currently just as we like. So let's see, width, we want this to be 4 pieces. That's 4 pixels, that's the direct correlation. 2 and then 4. Help if I typed that correctly as well. There we go. And then jaw base, add child, jaw left. And then the same again with jaw right. Bearing in mind these will need to be actually offset. Right now they are not. So they'll just appear to be in the exact same place with the exact same shape and such. So inside of our set rotation angles, there's usually a ticks existed in here, but yeah, that's fine. For right now, lump, take that. And we want to actually gain a value out of that. Sine wave right now works just fine. So let's see. This dot jaw base dot rotate angle x, which is the pitch, equals math dot sine ticks over 20, just to make it not go massively horrifyingly quickly. And could make that a float. Okay, so that should make our witch have a jaw element that goes up and down. We do also want to go to here, change that to 6, and I can't remember now if models are defined from the top or the bottom. But one way or another, we're going to find out. This is going to look very strange. I fully admit that. This will look very strange indeed. So this will definitely be, like, bug-worthy, but it's a bug that we expect to see, so that's something nice. Okay, yep, that's a start, I guess. And I think I see the jaw inside the body currently. It's a little hard to see, but I think it's there. Yeah, there it is. Just waggling at the back there. That is because the rotation point, or rather the offset and the rotation point, are off. Can I tell you... Well, firstly, let's actually refresh the texture so we can see something. Yeah, you have to F3 inside the file explorer, else it doesn't know where everything's been moved to, usually. Okay, that's interesting. Ah, right, because the texture's not being retrieved by our renderers, so it's just still looking for patron witch. Right, that's why. That's why that part's happening. Okay. That's fine. That's even better than a bug we anticipated. It's a bug we already know how to fix. So we want to grab the texture to correlate with our model. There. Me, Cam, and Sakura found out something on the patron server? Dare I ask? Is the patron server intact? Do let me know. By the by, since we seem to have a fair few people like watching me today, if you head over to patreon.com/lying, you can make sure that streams like this keep happening. Because Patreon is basically the only way I make money. I mean, I've been essentially a Minecraft YouTuber since 2012. What other transferable skills do I have but Patreon? Entertaining the masses. By breaking things over and over in Minecraft. All three of us can no longer summon the Wither? I am very, very curious what on earth you've done, Purah. Is that giving the witch their texture again? There we go. Okay. And thankfully it does appear to be from the top down. So, subtract... God, this looks weird. This looks like a South Park joke. It's the only way I can describe it. I've made Canadian witch. Yeah, this is just straight up Canadian witch right here. Just wow. Okay, entity data at r=6. New AI 1B. Take away your brain so you don't wander away from me while I'm trying to model you. But okay, yeah, we can see the mouth waggling at the back there. And we just need to position it and make sure it's actually got proper rotation. But yeah, this just looks like Canadian witch. That's the only way I can describe this. It's weird in its own way. Also, it's important to note that the details that we're adding here are ostensibly on the human version, vision of witch. And it's a matter of... Modded can do a lot of stuff, but generally speaking, a player looks like a player. And it is important that players look like players, and things that are not players ideally not look like players. Partially because it's incredibly lazy to just use a model biped. Like, if you just make everything look like a zombie, then everything ends up just blending together. But also because there is a big problem if you have something in the game that players cannot necessarily immediately differentiate from another player. Like, doppelgangers will, as one of the potential mobs for various oddities, will, attempt to imitate being a player, but that's the whole point of a doppelganger. If anything else looks like a player and tries to pretend it's a player, then you can have some really bad brain times. There's a reason people aren't, well, there's a lot of reasons people aren't necessarily fond of, mods that just add, Herobrine, or whatever. Besides the fact that it's an extremely done-to-death, thing. Okay. That aside. So yeah, there's just a reason... There's always a reason to add nuance to different models. Your dad mistook you as a zombie and killed you. What was your skin, by any chance? Can that be one of the models we see on occasion? What, just Canadian witch? I don't know. But okay, let's set the texture. And let's also actually create it in here. So that is the chunk of face that we are essentially trying to do here. We could do it all the way across there. I don't know that that's necessarily necessary, but Skin wasn't working for him, so Steve. He attacked you because he thought you were a zombie because your skin was Steve. It's a low opinion of Steve. Wow. So just mirror this on the left. And we don't really have space over here. That's all headwear over there, is why we can't use that. Just drop that there, and we do want to have a space above, which needs to be 8 pieces, I believe. 8 pixels. Is that 8 pixels? That is 7. Need to be 1 lower. Okay. Now, of course, we're not quite this big. We are, in fact, the different pieces of our jaw are 4 by 4 by 2. Now that's probably the wrong size, come to think of it. Needs to be 8 by 4 by 2. Which value's which then? Because it's... that way needs to be 4. Depth needs to be 8. There. Now I should probably actually draw this in modeling. Oh boy. Okay, so 8 by 2, that's our depth. Eight by 4, that's our top side. And then 4 by 2 is our actual front. So that is the actual shape of that. Ordinarily, I'd have done this with Techni way back when, but Techni seems to be having server issues these days. So now I'm just down to doing it by hand like a plebeian. Oh well. How much anyone who could... The thrice crowned king, I think is how I exactly called it. Okay, so these parts are currently jet black, and that is just so that we can tell where they are. It's going to be relevant later on, or as Mickey would say, it's a clever tool that will help us later. Okay, now we definitely need to change the rotation point. It'd be helpful if Minecraft would open it in a way that would allow us to actually modify this live, but for right now, not so much. In fact, let me just set debug up here, which is a feature of Render Oddity that just like redoes the texture every single time. Well, the model every single time. Your memory is bad when you're not ill. Is it superlative when you are? If we get you sick enough, can you remember through time? Before planets and stars and dust. Oh, it's worse when you're ill. Okay, right. So it's bad and then it gets really bad. That's a pity. You could have remembered when you were the wind in the stars once, Burra. Okay, that's a bit better-ish. Of course, we didn't actually tell it where the texture for that part was, but it's the right size now, so there's that. Now, is it going to be nice enough for me that it will actually change live? That's the question. Let's see. Jaws might be at 16 and 32. don't think it's being that nice. It used to do it basically every single time. You could get a whole ton of modeling. You get a whole ton of modeling done very quickly that way. I think it's a variable inside of Eclipse that isn't there or hasn't been set the same way these days. I don't know. I'm incorrigible? Oh, I think. Is that a compliment? I don't know. Anyways, away with Canadian Witch for a moment here. See, we're gonna have a fair few versions of the witch that are fairly humanoid, fairly human-like. A few of them are gonna look more disheveled than others, and one or two are gonna be just straight up monstrous. Like, I'm thinking at least one of them needs to resemble the Xenomorph Queen, because that is the heavy inspiration for the changelings. So that's obviously something we need to do. There's a mouth in there somewhere, I'm sure. But I don't see it anymore. What we can also do is just, like, have only the head render. Just turn off the body and whatnot. That'll help. Wait, there we are. 16 and 32. Did I have those coordinates right? Yes, I did. Okay. So it is getting there. Grand. Why can't we see it anymore is the next question. And let's also shuffle these about a bit. So I want to move them 8 pixels forwards, which is equal to 8F. You found a way to show witches bragging up, just remove the mouth? Oh, I wish. I wish. Drag and drop it into the trash. What is this? Animator versus animation? Still headcanon that at least Sister Lang knows about me? Like, me? Because that's almost just straight canon. Like, Sister Lang has visions of the entire Lying-verse. They're not necessarily in order or helpful, but they have them. More thinking Magic Duel episode from MLP. I have not seen that, so I have no idea. Yeah, why are we just completely invisible here? Did I not refresh the texture? Is that it? Did I not export the texture? Is that also it? Let's find out now! Said implicit that I'm not part of the Lying-verse. Fair point, yes. How have we managed to lose the jaw? That's interesting. Let's do a little bit of exploratory surgery. Not seeing anything in here. Astonishing, it's hollow. There's nothing of any substance in here at all. Yeah, we somehow lost the jaw here. That's curious. I wonder what's happened there. That was season 2. I haven't seen any, like, My Little Pony since I went to university. Okay, yes, that's correct. That is also correct. When did it stop rendering? Because I want to say it was after we set the texture. Let's get rid of the texture and see if that fixes it up. It should definitely have the right texture now, at least. We haven't been overwriting something else, have we? No? Okay, that's fine. Ah, wait, no. I see what happened. Okay, yeah, I see exactly what just happened there. That's why the jaw is invisible. It's because we did export it, but we exported it to the wrong space. Because in here, it's still transparent. There. Now we should be able to see the jaw again. It'll just still be a chunk of head. Now imagine that I'm like an art department of, say, 8 or more people at a major company being funded by Microsoft. Things like that still happen. They don't go away just because you get extra money. In fact, if anything, they increase in frequency. There we are. It's still weird, but somehow better. Okay. Is it gonna be... Is it gonna be playing nice? That is the question. I don't think the answer is yes, somehow. Nope, that is not playing nice. Okay, that's fine. We can deal with it not playing nice. We don't think we ever figured out what kind of cookies each of the lines would be? Okay, that's an interesting hypothesis there. Out of jaw dropping. I mean, of all of the lines, the witch is probably the only person that could, like, just straight up unhinge their jaw. Just unhinge it, remove it. Well, I guess certain, like, qualities of, like, cyborg lying might be able to. But the witch would do it just for straight up shock value. Like, tongue dangling out and everything. Which is not how anatomy works. But basically every single time you see somebody's jaw get, like, taken out in a horror movie, their tongue is just left there dangling. The tongue is mounted in the jaw. Ooh, okay, that's interesting. We've got a seesaw jaw. Ah, because I forgot a value there. That's why. But okay, that's good. We do have the opposing sides there as well. What I need to do now is actually get it to have the correct rotation point. Which again, is easy to do if you have Technique running, because you can actually see the rotation point in Technique, but... So that's closer than it might look, actually. There's going to be a lot of just checking it for a hot second, shutting it down, changing a line or two, and then putting it back up for this, by the by. Okay, so the rotation point is right there. If we shift it in the negatives, that should shift it forwards so that they end up actually like going this way, rather than this way. And then we need to shift them along the X, which I think is that. And if memory serves, S2 should there put that on the bottom level. We're just gonna have to shunt them into place so that we have a starting point. Cookies isn't the only thing the lines have been compared to. Analogized, I guess would be the phrase. Not 100% certain, but boy, there's been a lot. Undermine Lang as a golden delicious. I mean, there's a reason that one. The Erdkinder. Which is the deepest my German has gone in a while, suffice to say. What plushies would each Lang have? Which is Xenomorph plushie? I mean, I have a Xenomorph plushie right over there. Like, that's in this room. In fact, I think I saw fan art of college lying, which was straight up an adopted Xenomorph plushie named Rudy, in reference to which. It was in fact that exact same plushie. She size a fox plush? But which kind? I have so many. In fact, I have Inari Fox Meowchi. Who's huge and very huggable, but has jingly bells on the back, so kind of annoying around microphones. Isn't that one with the movable jaw that first used to startle me during stream? I mean, startle is a big word. Startle's a bit strong there. Okay, well, obviously the pieces are in the opposite direction, but we're getting there. So we need to shift the rotation point of your base backwards. Which I think is the negatives. I literally created like an enum inside of model utils just to be sure that I knew which direction was which. But oh boy, is it a pain to remember. The weirdest thing is, this will probably look the funniest when it's actually working. And we've had a lot of bizarre appearances here. Summoner's one of the 6-foot Totoros. An unexpected thing happening in your vicinity. I wouldn't even say startle, really. I don't recall being like I don't recall ever being like jump scared or anything by Fuzz with the very overt and obvious xenomorph plushie. Okay, we should have swapped their positions, so now they're in the right relative position, and then we should be able to see that straight, like hopefully in the right origin point. They might actually even line up now. Nope, I was wrong. But they are swapped, so that's progress. Like that is the proper mouth right there. Gotta increase. We're getting close. Never gonna find the stream it happened in? Oh, with the Xenomorph stuff? Probably not, no. I have nothing from like 2019 back, basically. Because I recently had to delete like nearly 300 gig of stream VODs from 2018. Because I do not have sufficient... I do not have sufficient... approaches. What's the phrase? Sufficient hard drive space. I need to get like a couple... I need to get a couple terabytes. Just shove it into my file server, but it's not cheap. The salt thing? Powder that make what? I don't think I get the reference. There we go. Okay. That is nearly there. Now it's currently rotating at the bottom. We want it to be rotating at the top. That, however, is relatively easy to fix. Just make that there. And that there. I think. We'll find out. No, actually, that would be right there. Okay. One says these are the wrong directions. Which looks like a Muppet. I mean, yeah. You're not wrong. I did say this would look funniest when it actually worked. Despite all the other things that we'd seen getting to that point. Like, I might truncate the jaw a bit so it's like not the full depth of their head deep. Make it just like the front 4 blocks, for instance. That means I need to make it a cube at the back, but relatively straightforward. And if any mob deserves to have a whole freaking ton of cubes involved, it's probably the Archway. Like, devoted, dedicated NPC mobs you can interact with, yeah, they're probably deserving of that. Has gone very wrong, hasn't it? And I was right that okay, yeah, I can see what's happening. The drawer is actually like splitting front to back as opposed to back to front. But okay, that's fine. Still stuff that we can actually figure out. Sticks? Yes, indeed, sticks. So, see you all in 10 minutes. And welcome back, everybody. So, for the final hour of the evening, we are going to be trying to get this jaw working. This jaw on like one variant of what the witch can look like at a given point in time to a given person. But nonetheless. Now, it's going to look very strange because of a little thing I've just done, but I just want to make sure that the rotation point is where I think it is. That's what the current test is for. Okay, so that looks to be the correct rotation point. Right. Believe it or not, that's a trick I've done a fair few times in the course of this whole, like, project. Like, it's just, when you see where something is spinning, it is very easy to see the point around which it is spinning. Unless it's a nested object, in which case it's a lot less easy, but still. Presumably that's what Witch looks like when they read one of those, like, BuzzFeed lists that's like, you won't believe number 5. Or, number 37 will make your jaw drop. Or, number 86 will blow your mind. I've never read those BuzzFeed lists, but they're garbage anyways. Okay, yes, that is definitely the correct point around which it should be rotating. I do notice a slight interesting thing at the back here, though, which is that the yellow is on the wrong side. But we can rather easily fix that up just by doing that. And let's make sure that we export to the right place. There. And refresh, because the files don't recognize where they are otherwise. Number 15 will slap your face clean off. Number 26 will abduct your family, steal your identity, and start a new life. But okay, that's good. That is in the correct place. So now we get to find out where the jaw, like the left and right of the jaw, are actually like rotating around, because that's the important thing. We need those to be like centered at the right place, but not actually rotating around the same, but necessarily around the same point. Number 4 will have an affair with your wife and replace your daughter. Replace you in your daughter's heart. Number 28 will will take you on a nice evening dinner and never call you back. Okay, so they're rotating around the front, and we need them. That is weird and freaky to look at, and that is exactly what we're after. Criminy, just like portions of the face that you're so accustomed to seeing are not quite there anymore. If it's weirding you the hell out, this is accomplishing its job. Okay, so jaw left and jaw right are the parts that we need to change in order to identify where that needs to be. It's making you laugh more than anything? I mean, fair. There's that as well. But yeah, I think I'm going to truncate it a bit, so it's maybe like the front 4, or maybe even at most like 6 pixels. Rather than what it currently is, which is not that. And that reminds me, I need to make sure... Is it minus that I want to use? I don't... Either way, we're about to find out. Witch versus Pinkie Pie, who'll win? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, that is from the correct point, but now of course it's too far back. Get a shuffle. Get a shuffle. But it is very near there. So essentially we're picking like the back middle of the skull on the bottom, and we're sending that downwards and to the left and right. Sort of like a predator. Wait, no. Sort of like the alien creature referred to as the predator. Don't want to be misinterpreting my statement there. What's the people are comparing Pinkie Pie with the witch. What's the pony that's just like a giant fuzzball that's like pink, and occasionally I see in fan art with Queen Chrysalis for some reason. Whatever that one is. Aren't they all predators? I mean, yes, but when you say it like that, it sounds very bad. In a way that's distinct to we hunt sentient life forms for sport. If you catch my meaning. Okay, I think that should get both moving. We'll see. You couldn't help yourself? Yeah, when you say something looks like a predator, then it sounds like a very different thing that is terrible, but not the kind of terrible that is we hunt sentient creatures for sport. Flufflepuff. Okay, that thing, right. Yeah, that one I've seen regularly break all manner of, like, sense. In fact, I think I saw a xenomorph crossing of Queen Chrysalis and Xenomorph, and the interior, like, jaw was just actually Flufflepuff. Okay, that looks like it's working, probably. Working properly. Obviously it's moving way too quickly, but good. Okay. But yeah, like, Flufflepuff does a lot of, like, reality breaking, a fair bit. Admittedly, so does Pinkie, but meh. Yeah, I'm aware Flufflepuff is fan-made. Because if she wasn't, then I would need to try and figure out exactly how Queen Chrysalis got into a roommate situation with them. Because that seemed to happen a lot. Fan-made characters aren't banned by laws? I don't know that the rule of law has ever been established in Equestria. It's not a thing I've looked up. Is there a point where they go to courts? Is anybody ever arrested? Which brings up, I guess, the alarming question of, is murder technically legal in Equestria? Yeah, there we go. Okay, it's obviously going a bit beyond boundaries that we should allow, but hey! That is doing exactly what we wanted to do. Nice! Chrysalis and Flufflepuff are more than roommates. I mean, fan-OC. Of course. So that's good. So now if we draw in, like, actual texturing for, like, a tongue and whatnot there, we can have them open their mouths normally, and then we can have them split open when we want to be particularly dramatic. Will the wings appear in another version? I don't know that this particular depiction of the witch is going to have the wings. We have killed and jailed villains before in Equestria. I mean, imprisoned seems to just be a thing the royals do. I don't know that that's necessarily a jail sentence. Can't find Bun or Mr. Fox. Oh no! I hope you find them soon. Alright, that should apply proper limitations. Oh, they're on deep pillow. Hooray! Easy way to find them then. Welcome back, Dusty. You're about to see a hell of a thing. Still doesn't answer the question of which versus Pinky who would win. They're extremely different properties. I don't know. That is not a fight I am willing to bet upon just yet, in either direction. There we go. Pinky has a tendency to laugh at fear. Okay, I think less than 45 degrees there. Need more teeth? Oh yeah, we can add more teeth. That's easy. I'm calling this jaw ang. This should technically be mandible ang, but nonetheless. But yeah, just like imagine you're just like having a conversation with the witch, just like hanging about, and then suddenly their jaw lowers and unhinges. Okay, let's see if I can get these values nailed in nicely. So yeah, we're just controlling the jaw by a max value, and then the basic, like the back hinge with one value, and then the split with its own unique value as well. So they can have separate limitations. Oh, this probably wants to be 15 or something. Like 30 is probably still too close to 45. Yeah, it's better. Yeah, just... occasionally that happens. Hey, Philly. I had Tea Party having civil conversation, which casually unhinges their jaw to consume something whole and then goes back to polite chit-chat. Oh, yeah. Like, that's pretty nice. I like that. And we don't have to do it, like, both of those. We can just have them be, like, jaw go down, jaw go up, jaw go down, jaw go up, and then something like specific happens, and then it's unhinged. What is this? This is a special NPC mob being added to the various oddities mod, which is what we are coding tonight on camera, and it features a lot of weirdness, suffice it to say. It features, surprisingly enough, various oddities. But, you know, we have fun around here. So this particular one is an archfey creature known as the Witch. That is inspired by an old RP character I did way back when. So we've just spent a fairly decent chunk of the evening getting that jaw to do that. You know how to make all of this? I mean, once upon a time, I had no clue. Once upon a time, I could not have done anything like this. One thing I could do is separate the white of like the teeth onto its own object, and then put another like layer inside that's just like serrations around that. But that might end up looking a little bit like a buck tooth. But it would also mean that they would open it and they'd just be like, oh, this is that's okay, that's teeth. But yeah, let's get a texture in here into that interior space and see what we can make it look. Just before we finish out the evening, as it were. So there is the interior of the mouth, or the normal interior of the mouth. And we want to be adding ourselves. My instinct is to go for a black tongue, but that's not necessarily grand for everything. Like, not everything needs a black tongue. I can't put really dark points on it, I guess. And let's have some white as well. Might want to make it more of an orange burgundy. You're not helping me terribly much with those colors, but I'll see what I can do. So something a bit more like that, maybe? Is that what you mean? Looks like a watermelon slice? Yeah, I can kind of see what you mean. So maybe if I double this up, I can actually get a better idea of what it is. He's like, just, whoa! Warm tone, desaturate. Gotcha. And then something similar here. Okay, if we overwrite that, good, that is going to the right place. I'm aware it already exists. That's why I wish to update it. Here. Okay, let's refresh and see what the texture looks like now. Hey Cam, have you just come back? Yeah, there we go. From painting Parvis, you have learned that flesh is more orange than you expect. I mean, that's not surprising. Oh, lurking, I see. Okay. Yeah, I might want to make the interior darker, because Minecraft doesn't really calculate lighting the way it probably should. But, that's pretty nice. And yeah, it does look like there's a little bit of a problem here with that. I don't think... Yeah. Might want to shift the, point a bit forwards, just so that they're not, detaching right at the back here. If you bop them, feel like which should be smaller if you bop them, they bop back. Which is currently the same height as a player. That is player character height. That might actually be a little higher. Looking at it. Interesting. I mean, having them be slightly taller than a player is also, I guess, in vogue, as it were. Yeah, that is interesting. Let's see if we can't figure out what's causing that. Because they shouldn't be. Like, what value... I'm trying to think, what values get sent through here? 0F, 0F, all goods. Is there a cape? Is there a scaling value that I've neglected somewhere? No, it's 0F. Okay. So then what am I forgetting? Why are you rendering taller than a player when you should be the exact same size as one? Which is either tiny gremlin or tall spindly creature. I mean, both of those might well be in place for this particular entity. Weird. I don't see anything that's doing anything that could be doing that. How curious. Yeah, I don't see anything could be rescaling it. How very odd. Okay, I officially don't know what could be causing that. Anyways, so let's now add some values here so that we can actually react with it in terms of sound. And I believe, yeah, there's jaw open there, which is an important value for us. Used by some oddities to animate mouths, such as when talking. Entity patron which establishes from entity archfey, which in turn is entity oddity, so it has access to that value. All of the oddities have it, whether they use it or not, just for convenience. So, next question. There is jaw open. Do I have an open time? Get jaw state. There you are. That's what I'm looking for. So if parse7 entity instance of entity oddity and if R7. Well, you know, at that point it doesn't matter. Entity, add a T. Go to the Never and your skull just starts talking back at you. Oh, yeah. What skulls? Those would be the doppelganger skulls, I think. Can't recall exactly what they're called. What did it take to fluster a witch? I'm sure it's happened. At some stage. Let's see what's the other value I need here. Dual open state, I think. Is that not a... Interesting. I could have sworn that was also a actual thing here, but oh well. That's fine. I could have sworn that was already a base oddity thing. There we go. Or was that before I made it universal? Let's find out. Don't see a value up here, so I presume none. So is drawer open and oddity instance of loud Windows noise. Apologies, I can't control that part. Okay, so now that we have that, we need to add this to our own update function, which we're already using to update the ponytail anyways, so yay. And then whenever we call for a sound, we need to call the open jaw function. Okay. And then that's just handles onto that. It should work just fine that way. So if the jaw's not open, or if it's not the right kind of oddity, then it just always keeps it closed. But otherwise, whenever it makes the ambient noise, it should blip. Huh? Did all this occur? Did I? Unintentionally, if so. This is a teensy piece of animation that is used in horses in vanilla, not really used for many other things. I think it's used for a couple of quadrupedal kind of like mounts, like donkeys and the like, but for the most part, it's weird. It's a nice little animation touch that is not really used elsewhere. Probably because horses and donkeys and whatnot originate in an entirely separate mod. They originate from Dr. Zark. So I have Dr. Zark to blame for the horrific code that is horses. Dear Lord. Not a single thing in horses are parented. Every single thing has to be moved into position manually. Oh. It's terrible. Can make it so much easier. Ugh. And in fact, I'm pretty sure mine do. I'm pretty sure my Pegasi do. Though granted, my Pegasi have some other issues, but it's mostly AI. Because they're kind of clunky. Oh, we have a crash. That didn't take terribly long. Don't tell me we define the jaw value, but we don't actually like insert it into everything. Yeah, there we go. Okay. Wouldn't be a stream if we didn't have some kind of crash. Pegasi cannot breed. Yeah, they're, as I say, they are very clunky. They need an overhaul and a half. Okay, here we go. Shouldn't have that problem now. I hope. Yeah, that's pretty good. It's pretty good. Obviously, it snaps back, and we don't quite like that. But that is pretty close. Okay. What value is your state relative to? That's the question. What does it count up to? Max? Okay, so it's scale between 1 and 0. Right. So if we go to the model, then we need to take that as a... trying to think here. We don't want it to go below 0, but we do want it to be essentially scaled to 0.5. So we can just take that over 0.5. Can we? No, that's not how that will work. Times 0.5 will work though. Wait, no, because it has to go back down. Drat. There. So once it goes above that, it'll count down to... Oh, that's not going to work either. There. It's messy, but it should do the trick. Local man spends 2 hours cutting a single body part. Pretty much. Probably more like 2.5, honestly. But it could be worse. I could be a local man cutting a very specific body part, which, let's be honest, a lot of dudes would. technically it's 2 body parts. I mean, in that case, it's technically 3. A few more, depending on how granular you want to get. I think that's already been done. You're not wrong. Okay, yeah, that's got some problems. But... Yeah, very close. And it does look very suitably creepy as hell. Like, just normal Minecrafter, normal Minecrafter, normal Minecrafter, and... suddenly Predator Jaw. It's good. I like it. And then, by a random chance, we can just select whether or not we actually increase jaw left and right. Just have it be normal blep, 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 and then beep. I don't know that I can do this with my hands, but nonetheless. No, because I'll just go back down. Ugh. There. That should hopefully work. I hope I've gotten that right. But yeah, I'm probably going to truncate it to be probably like the front 6 pixels and not all 8 of them, just so it doesn't go completely Muppet. Not safe for work witch mod. I mean, technically you shouldn't be playing Minecraft at work in most cases, unless you're me, in which case you get paid to, but still. Okay, still got some problems, but yeah, still looking creepy. You did that on purpose. Used to play Minecraft at school. I mean, that's school. That's not work. Yeah, definitely need to change it so that it's not like shunting out backwards like that. But otherwise, it's pretty good. Like, I think that's good progress there on our little archfey. So I will retexture. I will tweak the mouth a bit, make it a bit more of a random thing, and maybe add like glowing eyes, because that's a thing I can do as well, and set it up so that the Witch can have like multiple models and textures and whatnot, not just the one. And then we'll be good to go. Of course they did it on purpose, they are the Witch. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. But I can just imagine somebody like not noticing that they do that for the longest time by random chance or whatnot, and then they suddenly see that happen. It's like, I need to unsubscribe from a newsletter. Yep, if they don't get their shoes. I missed a sentence there. I feel like they need muddy feet if they don't get their shoes. I mean, if I retexture, then that's entirely possible. Yeah. But that is basically all that I have for today. So hope everybody's enjoyed. And my next stream is Thursday night. We're doing some more Monster Hunter World Iceborne 9, followed on Friday with more Dead by Daylight. And we have some Dungeons & Dragons at 7 on Saturday, followed at 9 with some random games and a discussion about what went down in D&D. We'll be back for more work with Archfey and whatnot, actually defining properties and in-game values and such on Tuesday at 9. But meanwhile, I do make videos over at youtube.com/remembercomic. It's in the banner, it's easier to read there. And everything I do is powered by you and the wonderful people over at Patreon at patreon.com/lying. Hope you've all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all as ever next time. It's creepy as hell and I love it.